What if I told you the single biggest story in the stock market today is a lie? For the last 2 years, you've heard one name over and over again: Nvidia, the undisputed king of the AI revolution, with its stock price soaring into the stratosphere. The media tells you it's the only game in town, but that's the lie. Because behind every king, there's a powerful court of kingmakers. The hidden players who build the kingdom, supply the armies, and, in many cases, walk away with a shocking amount of the profits. Today, we expose the real winners of the AI gold rush. We're not talking about long-shot startups or risky penny stocks. We are talking about two publicly traded giants that are not just enabling Nvidia's dominance. They're creating a profit-generating machine that could dwarf their current valuations. These are the smart money plays for the fourth quarter of 2025, and their names are Micron and Advanced Micro Devices. Stick around, because by the end of this analysis, you will understand exactly which one of these two titans I believe is the single best AI stock to own for the next 18 months. All right, let's get one thing straight. Nvidia is a phenomenal company. They command roughly 80% of the AI accelerator market. Their CUDA software platform has a moat so wide it could be an ocean. But here's the question nobody seems to be asking: what does Nvidia's hardware actually need to function? It needs two things: a fire hose of data and an engine powerful enough to process it. Nvidia builds the engine, but they don't build the fire hose. That's where our first hidden winner comes in. Meet Micron Technology, ticker symbol M. Micron is the only major memory manufacturer based in the United States. And more importantly, they are a leader in producing something called high bandwidth memory, or HBM. Think of an Nvidia GPU as a genius-level brain. That brain is useless if it can't access information fast enough. HBM is the neural network connecting the GPU to the data it needs. It is the super-fast data highway that makes AI possible. Without it, an Nvidia GPU is just a very expensive paperweight. And here's the kicker. Micron has announced that their supply of high-performance HBM is almost completely sold out through the end of 2026. When a company's most profitable product has a waiting list that's over a year long, you know something extraordinary is happening to its financials. Let's look at the numbers. This is where the story gets really compelling. For its just completed fiscal year 2025, Micron reported $37.4 billion in revenue. That's a staggering 49% increase from the prior year. But revenue is only half the story. The real magic is in the profit margins. Because Micron has a near monopoly on this critical HBM component, they can practically name their price, and their gross margin expanded from 22% to nearly 40% in just 1 year. And here is where the story becomes undeniable. Micron's officially reported earnings per share for its full fiscal year 2025 skyrocketed from just 70 cents in 2024 to $7.59. That is a 984% increase in a single year, based on their official results released on September 23, 2025. This isn't speculation. This is a fact, pulled directly from their audited financial statements. While Nvidia is fighting off competitors, Micron is simply selling the shovels in the gold rush to everyone, and they're the only ones with top-tier shovels in stock. Now, I have a question for you. Seeing this kind of explosive reported growth, do you think Wall Street has fully priced this in? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious what you think, and I'll be replying to as many as I can. Now, Micron isn't the only player making a brilliant move behind the scenes. There's another giant quietly positioning itself not as a supplier, but as a legitimate alternative to Nvidia. And they just signed two of the biggest deals in tech history. Let's talk about AMD. For years, AMD has been the scrappy underdog to Intel in CPUs and Nvidia in GPUs. But in the AI era, their strategy has become incredibly smart. Instead of trying to beat Nvidia at their own game, they are partnering with the enemies of Nvidia's customers. What do I mean? Think about it. Companies like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are spending billions on Nvidia chips, but they hate being dependent on a single supplier. They are desperate for a viable second option to gain negotiating leverage. AMD is that option. And in October 2025, this strategy paid off in a massive way. First, the Oracle deal. Oracle Cloud announced it would be deploying 50,000 of AMD's upcoming Instinct MI450 AI chips. This is a multi-billion-dollar deal that creates a dedicated AMD-powered supercluster. But that was just the appetizer. Just days earlier, AMD announced a world-changing strategic partnership with OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. AMD will deploy 6 gigawatts of AI compute power for OpenAI over several years. To put that in perspective, that's enough energy to power a small country, and it represents a potential revenue stream of over $100 billion over the life of the contract. These deals are a massive vote of confidence. They give AMD incredible revenue visibility for years to come. So, how do their financials stack up against Micron? Based on analyst consensus, AMD's revenue for 2025 is projected to be around $33 billion, or about 28% growth. And its earnings per share are estimated to grow from $1 to around $3.14, an impressive 214%. But remember, this is an estimate as their year isn't over yet. So this brings us to the ultimate question. We have two titans, both making brilliant strategic moves. Micron, the profit-exploding monopoly supplier, and AMD, the partnership-fueled challenger. Which one is the better investment right now? To answer that, we have to look at the most important metric of all: valuation. How much are you paying for that growth? This is where the story becomes crystal clear. As of late October 2025, AMD is trading at a price-to-earnings ratio of over 250. That is an incredibly high valuation that prices in flawless execution and massive success for years to come. There is very little room for error. Now look at Micron. Despite growing its earnings 10 times faster than AMD, it trades at a PE ratio of just 29. Let me say that again. Micron is nearly 9 times cheaper than AMD on a PE basis, while growing its earnings 10 times faster. This is one of the biggest valuation disconnects I have ever seen in the mega-cap tech space. The market is so obsessed with the Nvidia vs AMD narrative that it's completely overlooking the pure profit machine that Micron has become. Now, we've seen the data. Micron has faster reported growth and a much cheaper valuation. AMD has incredible future-dated partnerships but a very high valuation. Based on this, which strategy do you find more compelling? The proven results or the future promise? Let me know in one word in the comments: Micron or AMD? My final verdict is next. So, what are the risks? For AMD, the risk is clear: execution and competition. Their partnerships are phenomenal, but they don't start generating significant revenue until late 2026. And at a 250 PE, any stumble will be severely punished. For Micron, the risk is more distant. Right now, they have a monopoly, but competitors like Samsung and SK Hynix are racing to catch up. By 2027, the HBM market will be more competitive, which could put pressure on those sky-high margins. However, with demand for AI compute projected to grow exponentially for the rest of the decade, there will likely be more than enough demand to go around. Furthermore, Micron is investing aggressively, with nearly $32 billion in capital expenditures planned for 2025 and 2026 to build new factories in the US and Asia, cementing their lead. So, after laying out all the facts, the revenue, the profits, the partnerships, and the risks, it's time for my final verdict. Both Micron and AMD are fantastic companies and are far smarter plays than chasing Nvidia at its peak valuation. They are the true enablers of the AI revolution. However, if I had to choose only one stock for the next 12 to 18 months, the choice is overwhelmingly clear. It's Micron, the combination of explosive, almost unbelievable earnings growth, a rock-solid monopoly on a critical component, and a valuation that is still deeply undervalued compared to its peers, presents a generational investment opportunity. The market has not woken up to the fact that Micron is transforming from a cyclical commodity memory maker into a high-margin AI powerhouse. AMD is a great company, but it's a show-me story priced for perfection. Micron is a here-and-now story priced at a discount. As the AI revolution continues, remember to look beyond the headlines. The real money is often made not by the king, but by the quiet, indispensable kingmakers operating in the shadows. If you got value from this deep dive analysis, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more content that looks beyond the hype to find the real opportunities. Thanks for watching.